It reads, hashtag link holders, quote, SDX uses CCIP for interoperability, end quote. And then there's a new video from SDX, quote, we established interoperability a couple of years ago. Yet CCIP launched July 2023. Face slap emoji. Wake up, it's Quant. It's always been Quant. Ladies and gentlemen, Quamrats, welcome to episode 11 of the Quamfy Show. It's supposed to be summer in the Netherlands. it isn't yet. Weather's utterly crappy. We still hadn't had a full sunny week since October yet, which is insane. I projected the weather into the future on a weather app, whatever. And the entire month of July is going to be rain with the exception of 3 fucking days, which is disgusting. So yeah, there's that. Sentiment on Quant also reflects the weather, I think. Sentiment is very, very low. People are really, really sad and fed up, and not gonna lie, so am I. We'll get to that today. Quant news, on the other hand, is still picking up. Yes, we said that 2 weeks ago as well. And it's getting even better. They just keep on pounding out like all these lectures and articles and so on, which makes the price action even worse. So we're going to dive into that as well. Second part of the show, we'll have a look at price. And we got this lovely tweet storm by Deutscher. I think you pronounce it like that, on why sentiment is what it is and why you shouldn't feel sad if you're not, quote unquote, making money while other people seem to be doing just that. So we will see. It's a whiskey day today. It's a Glenfiddich 18-year-old. Going to be sipping that. Besides general quant sentiment, I'm pretty positive. A little bit tired. Pretty busy weeks with Nikita's birthday a week or so ago. A lot of people over. Tomorrow we're gonna have her celebration with friends. So we're gonna have a house full of kids, which is gonna be atrocious, but it is what it is. And yeah, all in all, doing pretty well. Tim, how have you been?
How I've been. It's been pretty chaotic last 2 weeks. And it's getting even, well, it will get progressively more chaotic the further we go into the future. As in, a lot of things have a lot of moving parts at the same time. Personal life, work-related, and holidays. Because, well, as you know, I follow the Dutch national team, and the Euros are literally around the corner at the moment. So I'll be traveling to Germany quite a bit in the coming weeks to follow the Dutch team, and the football will completely decide how my holiday schedule will look like. In the meantime, I'm waiting to get the keys to my new house. Will be in 2 weeks from now. So more and more moving parts are things that I need to consider, if that makes any sense. And then I just have some personal issues with my work and well, personal life just in general. So I'm kind of overwhelmed. Jarno asked me at the beginning of the show, well, when we started the preparations, like, how do I feel? Well, overwhelmed. I think that's the right word. And I think in general I'm still doing fine. But it's kind of hard to keep an overview of everything, and I feel like there's just too much information, and I'm sometimes a bit overwhelmed. So yeah, that's about me.
Yeah, I can remember vividly, man. Moving here last October. it just takes so much bandwidth, and we had it a little bit rough because we had to also move to children, and we had to do it in school holiday and such. But we also had it easy because we both owned a house before, and we were familiar with all the shenanigans, and we had already most of the furniture and stuff like that. But I can vividly remember also my first move, and oh my god, there's so much going on. Yeah. And if you then also want to keep up with what's going on in markets, and most people are fucking asshats or clowns or just plain idiots. Everybody's playing sentiment. Everybody thinks they're a fucking genius. Everybody's in bear mode. It's just exhausting because it takes so much bandwidth to just
really is. I felt like last
level everything
Friday
out.
too many moving parts at the same time, and then you have QNT taking a nosedive around what was it, like 5-6% further down. Yeah, then those are the moments that I feel really terrible. But I mean, we're still here. We are making it though, and it's not like everything is in shambles at the moment for me. By a sheer stroke of luck, I managed to actually buy the house in March, and I had to sell QNT in March. Actually, I didn't have to sell QNT, but I was just taking no risk there. I was just like, okay, let's just sell QNT and see whatever happens. And in hindsight, that was a good decision for me, because I had to sell a relatively small portion of my entire stack in order to finance everything compared to when I should have done it now.
Yeah, you would have sold twice as much, my man.
Yeah, exactly. So there's yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it really could be worse. But it doesn't take away the fact that I feel a bit overwhelmed with everything. I think it will clear up. I'm also kind of really in need of a summer break, I guess. But yeah, let's dive into the show. I think we have stuff to discuss.
Looking at quant development before we go to dive in there, give it a timestamp.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys a lot, right? If you appreciate us, subscribe, right? Take your time. Just pause right now for a sec, and please follow us, right? If you're on podcast or on YouTube, it helps us out greatly. As you will see later in the show, sentiment is really fucking low everywhere. We know nobody is really interested. So if you found this by accident, thank you for being here. Leave a comment, leave an emoji, leave whatever to help us out. Let us know how you feel or not, and just give us a poo emoji, which is also fine. The show, as you can see, is also sponsored by BYBIT. BYBIT reached out. I think we have an interesting platform, interesting audience, and they offered us a partnership, which we agreed to, which means that if you use our code, and you can find it in the description in the video below, you're going to get an additional 20 on top of your first 100 deposit within 7 days, and you're going to get a discount. I believe it was 30%, wasn't it, Tim? Or 10%? I forgot. 10% for the first 30 days. That was it.
Yeah.
Almost messed it up. And we're going to do more in the future, most likely. Tim and I also have some plans to make some additional content. There was some confusion when we spoke about this in the QRC 21 group. I'll put the link to that group also in the description if I remember. If I forget, let me know in the comments. We made a quant group where we can also discuss stuff that we spoke about on the show. Shit, lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so we have some plans to make some extra content. So it's not going to be replacing the long form content that we're doing, right? Right now we're aiming for an hour 15 minutes. But we're going to create additional content. And during summer, Tim and I will be pondering that. We'll be meeting, we'll be discussing, and hopefully recording to bring you guys some bite-sized content as well. Probably going to be on the shorts, on the Instagram and so on. Tim is looking like he's seeing ghosts again. Are your lights acting up, brother?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Tim is a little bit paranoid. Yes, this is no, I'm joking. So Tim and I will be working to create more content for you guys. Let me know how you feel about that. In the meantime, speaking of content, Greg Lunt, I'm still a fan. You can love him, you can hate him. I love how he loves to ruffle feathers. What you see here posted today, you can follow him on @GregLuntX. And Greg and Lunt and X is capitalized. It reads, hashtag link holders, quote, SDX uses CCIP for interoperability, end quote. And then there's a new video from SDX, quote, we established interoperability a couple of years ago. Yet CCIP launched July 2023. Face slap emoji. Wake up, it's Quant. It's always been Quant. And if we look at this video,
we at SDX have established already a couple of years ago interoperability between the traditional infrastructure and the new infrastructure to allow for our members to reach the whole market and not only a fraction of it, which is now active in the digital asset space. We at SDX have established already a couple of years ago interoperability between the traditional infrastructure and the new infrastructure to allow for our members to reach the whole market and not only a fraction of it, which is now active in the digital asset space.
Okay, yeah. Well, so that's pretty much on the nose. And about solving that interoperability thing, this is a tweet by Six Digital Exchange at SDX_global. And this reads, what do you think it'll take for hashtag blockchain, hashtag interoperability? Read our view here, sdx.com/blog/interoperability and a lot of other things. Let's discuss. And there is a poll. And the first answer that's possible, let's call it A, would be mindset change. And that got 7.7% of the votes. Then there was tech advance, like hashtag Quant, that got 89.1%. And then you have not needed, move on, with a 3.2%. There were 2,263 votes. I didn't do the statistical analysis, but I say an 89% approval on 2,200 votes could be significant, which is very cool.
It still baffles me that they haven't deleted this tweet.
They haven't removed it. They haven't removed it. This is still on. The link is in the description, right? x.com/SDX_global status. And then, well, I'm not going to read the number because you're not going to remember it anyway. It's a waste of time. Oh yeah, I tagged 84 here, lol. There's Quad Network. Now you've heard of it. I can remember somebody, I don't know, Eric Voice for some reason attracted my attention, not having heard about Quant or something like that. But yeah, this was 2021. And now it gets confirmed again. This must sting. That being said, SDX still works with Link, right? That is still true. And they will be using most likely CCIP services for price feeds, for oracles, for other stuff like that. But not for the meat and potatoes, which is obviously the interoperability that Quant can provide. What are your thoughts, Tim?
I think it's pretty clear that this is us.
Yeah,
what can I say?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, especially that they didn't take down the old tweet. I mean, it's still being reused, so they know it's there.
It's really interesting that they tweet something like that and then accordingly not delete it. Usually it's an intern or some employee who makes a mistake. So that means they are either not tech savvy enough to delete tweets, or it was intentional and they just kept it there for some reason. But it was surely a very interesting tweet, especially back in those days when we were in complete euphoria modes with Binance announcements, SDX suddenly tweeting us. I really remember those days vividly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great. And
yeah, and especially because
Greg for bringing it up once
yeah,
again, because we really tend to forget. We really do not see it anymore.
no, yeah, and 6 SDX, they are also part of the Swiss banking system. They do the Swiss stock market and so on. So there is a lot of volume. There's a lot of credit and credibility to these guys. Give them a follow at SDX_global. So you don't miss out on stuff. Same with GregLuntX. And we have another one from Greg as well. And this is about Project Leonidas. Leonidas, if you're from not Greece. And this reads, breaking. QNT helps complete Project Leonidas, representing a wrapped CBDC settlement for all of Italy. The project was built on Spunta, which uses Overledger for interoperability via SIA chain. Right? SIA chain has their own SIA net. They have like 180,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable across the world. They are connected to every bank on the planet, according to Gil. Leonidas was run by the Italian Banking Association, Bank of Italy, R3 Corda, NTT Data, and 17 different commercial banks. The participants were able to, 1, settle liquid balances across multiple CBDC networks, 2, manage cash supply and demand between banks, 3, add programmability logic within and beyond the interbank connections. Similar to the BIS vision, Project Leonidas came away with the following conclusion, quote, the application of new technologies should not merely overlay onto existing processes. Instead, it should drive a fundamental transformation through the integration of innovative technologies, end quote. Quant continues its expansion across Europe as the foundation of the new financial system. What I forgot to say on the previous tweet was SDX cannot be on CCIP for interoperability because SDX also works with Corda. And Corda is a private permissioned network. And CCIP cannot interoperate that. You'll probably get more from Greg on this, but the technology from CCIP is just not capable of interoperating with this, and Quant obviously is. So what you see here now on the screen, a diagram showing the overall architecture. Not gonna dive into this because we are way too technical already. But it is built with CBDC REST APIs, Spunta REST APIs, and APIs technically how the internet right now works to a degree. They're speaking about the Corda app, which makes pretty clear what is going on. Yeah, and here you see a screenshot from Quant's website. A full program of testing has been executed on SIA chain, R3 Corda, and private Ethereum platforms. Quant and SIA will work together. And then there's Gilbert in a Telegram screenshot. Great project, financial institutions, all Project Spunta this is. We're working in the right space to be able to deliver the sector to the sector at scale. Spunta's only one banking application. There are many more in the pipeline to run on SIA chain and interoperable through Overledger. So that is really, really great. Amazing work by Greg, as usual. So there's a lot of claims being made, right, by Links, CCIP, etc. There's a lot of people taking that at face value. Link has a really great marketing department.
Yeah,
They are
really,
now getting called out on LinkedIn. I don't have the LinkedIn post there yet, but they're pretending to be the standard for the future. And there was somebody actually from a standards platform lashing out in the comments that Link is overselling themselves, which is pretty atrocious.
It kind of makes me think of, I think it's, oh no. Oh, I'm so terrible. I've become so terrible with all these cryptos. What is it again? One of those other interoperability cryptos. It's not Polygon. What's the thing?
I'm gonna let you swim,
yeah,
dude. You
Link.
interrupted 3 times to say this, so you better fucking remember.
Oh no, it's the no. When you watch the videos of Raoul Paul, they have sponsoring. They have ads before when the video starts and after the video ends.
Polkadot.
And Polkadot, indeed. It's literally a matter of marketing, right? So when you watch Raoul Paul's videos, you are probably a crypto investor or an investor in general, and the people of Polkadot want you to buy their token. And Link is focused on attracting some customers. Well, we are building on a totally different level. It's not even comparable, but for crypto folks, it's important. Because they have the illusion that they are being marketed and that they are relevant.
Yeah.
It's a completely different game of chess that we're playing. Yeah, okay. Polkadot. Sure. Yeah, I used to be in that in the past. Long ago.
Yeah, and here we have
the Miles Deutscher tweet storm.
Yeah. And this is an interesting one. It's a long one. So we're going to highlight a couple of things. Highly recommend reading the entire thing for some more nuance. He starts off with, we are not in an altcoin bull run, not even close. If you are struggling this cycle, you are not alone. I just dug through the data, which reveals some shocking truths about the current state of the market. It also holds the key as to when things should turn around. Yeah, at first glance, you'd think crypto sentiment would be euphoric right now. BTC is nearing all-time high, meme coins are exploding, celebrities are shitting crypto again, but it is far from it. If you dig a little bit deeper below the surface, it's not hard to figure out why. Most retail doesn't hold large amounts of Bitcoin. They're in alts, and alts have been significantly underperforming thus far this cycle. So let's take a deeper look at the data which support this. Understanding this data is important to contextualize where we sit in this cycle. Okay. Best example here is Quant. News is only getting better, but sentiment is getting lower, and price follows sentiment right now. Some meme coins do well. Everybody thinks that all meme coins do well. You will see later on that this is not the case at all, because in May alone, 1 million meme coins and other coins got created on Base, Optimism, Ethereum, and so on. There's a lot of dilution everywhere, and people are just desperate. Everybody is hungry, everybody is greedy, and everybody is desperate to get their hands on some green, right? Some green candles, some positive sentiment, and so on. And I feel this too, right? You know, you guys know I've been in YOYO for a while now, and I've had some other meme coins. I just want to have some fun, right? I just want to play around with my crypto, make some gains, have some laughs, make some friends. And there are so many people looking for this, right? That sense of belonging, that sense of community. And if we look at, for instance, Quant, but there's tons of other projects as well, where sentiment is so low, people are literally at each other's throats. People are selling, people are crying, and everybody can do whatever the hell they want, right? If you want to go sell your Quant, go sell your Quant. But people are making theatrics about it, and so on. And in the end, there's a couple of people that get lucky, they make some profits. But all in all, it is not just, you cannot make a blanket statement right now as to the state of the market, besides that Bitcoin is doing really well, and alts are just in general doing shit, especially looking at how many alts there are. So he goes on with a lot of charts, right? And he calls that others / BTC. Is now lower than it was in October 2023. So that means that Bitcoin is vastly outperforming the rest of crypto. There are only 8 coins that broke their previous all-time high versus Bitcoin. RNDR, TRB, ING, ASTR, SSV, AGX, TWT, and BNB, for whatever that is worth. And this is also what we spoke about earlier. So crypto YouTube views are disproportionately lagging the Bitcoin price. So he took the amount of engagement on YouTube and he paired that with Bitcoin price, and then you can get a little bit of a gauge for sentiment, right? How does everybody feel and how do people act? And if you look at that graph, you can see that when Bitcoin price surges, so do YouTube views and searches. This actually correlates really fucking well. And that's not really happening, right? So people speaking about euphoria in the market, they just have tunnel vision, because it's simply not happening. And you can see here who he grabbed. He grabbed some guys like Altcoin Daily, BitBoy Crypto, Jimmy Song, Plan B, the Quamfy Show, right? All the big ones, and looked at how many views they got, etc. It's interesting that he had the Quamfy Show in there, which is super cool. And then you got like all these different charts saying that altcoins are still 70% away from all-time high. Quant is down 78% from all-time high right now, which is a little bit despair. But it is within the range of being average, right? And everybody feels that Quant's being outperformed by everything, and everybody is making 100x's left and right, quotations marks. It's all fucking bullshit. That being said, alts are still severely down compared to BTC. There hasn't been a sustained rally, I agree. And he also quotes a tweet of someone else. Open the tweet and look it up. But the bottom line is, right now it's a Bitcoin narrative-led cycle, and the ETF helped to manifest this. And here you can see where he's looking at what did other assets do versus Bitcoin. There you can see memes are like way up, while ordinals are down. I'm not gonna hang myself with this graph because trying to explain it will take half the show and I'll look like a fucking idiot even more than I do already. So let's move on.
Let's not do that. Let's not go there. No.
Yeah. So now we have what is interesting and understandable to us, and this is market dilution. We know that a lot of cryptos get just created like that, mate. And that the more coins there are, if the same amount of money remains in the market, everything gets diluted, right? In the beginning, there was only Bitcoin, and Bitcoin had all the money. And then I now have my hands together as if I'm praying. And the more coins come in, now I'm moving my hands apart. and the peak flattens, right? And in the end, everybody has the same or nothing, whatever you want to call this. So what you see right here is a graph, new tokens by blockchain from January 2017 to May 2024. And this is not even exponential. This is just bananas, because you can actually see that by, I think this might be July 2023-ish, a little over 100,000 tokens got created. But if you look at like last month, we're talking about like 300,000-ish, maybe more, that got created. I think this is weekly, isn't it? Or is this monthly? Could be monthly.
I think it's monthly. Otherwise, we would have more bars.
Oh, and he said the graph excludes Solana. The data over there is mind-blowing. So this graph is just Optimism, Ethereum, Base, Blast, and Arbitrum. Which is ridiculous. I'm pretty active on Base. I can confirm you cannot keep up. If you try and buy everything, you'll go bankrupt. But this is a lot, right? This is a lot. Tokens are also flooding the market. Token unlocks, right? Remember all the yield you're getting? That's all just inflation. If you get a 15% yield, there's a 20% inflation. Rule of thumb. Quote me on that. Yeah, there's 200 million US dollars of unlocks per day. This is dollars, not 200 million tokens. The data below is majors only. This is new sell pressure that is constantly suppressing the market. The more tokens continue to launch, the more unlocks flood the market, right? So APT, ARB, STRK, Cliff unlocks next 7 days, 343 million. Linear unlocks per day, 62 million. So that's a lot of tokens that come to market that help suppress price. Tim?
Yeah, so basically all the liquidity needs to be spread out across these literal millions of tokens that are being created, and the printers are on, basically.
No, the printers were on. These were tokens that were allocated to people when a token got created.
Yeah, okay.
And these tokens were vested. So these people bought these tokens and they couldn't do anything with them until that period ended. So these have been in people's wallets for all that time, and they are being released.
Yeah.
So if I understand this correctly, this is on top of what gets mined or minted or whatever added. So there's just a lot of inflation, which is value that is, I mean, this is kind of, if you believe in it, not going to go there, but like the global warming, right? Greenhouse gases. If I burn a tree that I cut in my own garden, that's neutral. But if I take fucking oil out of the ground that was trees millions of years ago, then that adds onto the ecosystem. And this is what's going on here. So this is not new value. This is old value that just gets added. And this is value extracting, not creating. Will things get better? He quotes a tweet from Cred at Crypto Cred, both with capital C. You can look that up. He compares cycles. He says 78 bars, which equates to 546 days post-halving, is usually where the alt top is. So if this is projected into the future from the last halving, that will be somewhere in October 2025. This also coincides with what WouldaCoulda says, which is a macro guy, specialist, analyst, investor, whatever you want to call it. He also speaks of summer 2025, right? So that's prior to October, because of October it's arguably winter or autumn or whatever.
That was one of the first things that stood out to me. It really aligns with his liquidity videos and his theories.
Yeah. And his explanation with this is that since 2008, all these things have lined up, right? So the reset of the banking interest rates, the Bitcoin halving, US elections, and with that crypto bull run. So it's kind of a perfect storm every 4 years. And this is also what Miles says. Yeah, so he's talking for a variety of reasons. He's writing cycle acceleration, macro factors, etc. I think we peak earlier than this. And he understands that these 2 data points is just too simplistic. But the point still stands that we are probabilistically still early in the cycle from an altcoin point of view. Well, Bitcoin taking the lead healthy according to him. Dilution is a major factor, and so on. He asks you to follow him, and I think that could be a good idea. And the biggest one, and that's also what Raul says, he says, this is the stage of the cycle where you need to be patient and maintain conviction. Don't get shaken out before the main event. Don't fuck this up. If you are one of those motherfuckers that is now selling QNT at the bottom of whatever after holding for 3 goddamn years, you are fucking it up. You're truly fucking it up. And yes, not all altcoins will run. Not by a long shot. But eventually, value will accrue value.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep that in mind and you follow the Quamfy show, you like, subscribe, comment, share our content with your friends, use our link for BYBIT, then everything will work out fine. Quant will get pumped, and now value will accrue. There's no doubt on that. But it will take some time. It will take some time, and some patience. And the only thing that you can do now is fuck it up by selling your shit early. Now is no longer the time to be buying new assets. Not the ones that you want to hold, right? General consensus and advice is you want to be buying in the bear market and you want to do your research for the next cycle in the bull market and then buy the bear market again, right? So if you see anything you like, put it on the list. Use the portfolio that we created for inspiration, how you can maybe make a WouldaCouldaShoulda portfolio and then maybe get a little bit of a grip and an understanding of your psychology and your ability to call things. There's no rush. You don't have to be a fucking millionaire within 3 years. And a lot of people still think that that's what it's all about, right? One cycle and you have Lambos to burn. And that's why so many people are hopping. And that's why people keep on losing. So, yeah.
Is there anything more to address this show? I mean, we could look at our own portfolios and...
We still have also something interesting from Galileo Protocol. You guys haven't heard about Galileo for a while. Galileo is still here. Yeah, for the people that haven't watched the show in a while. I do have Galileo tokens. Tim has them as well, I think.
Yep.
Still?
I do. Yeah. I sold a lot of them simply for the reason that, well, I've been there since the very beginning. And I need to buy a house. So,
Tim was in the pre-sale, and I worked for Galileo for a while. So that's the full disclosure. Galileo Marketplace is going online June 14th, phase 1. It's going to be interesting. Galileo does real world assets. They use both Quant as well as CCIP to have this run and work. But they tokenize real world assets with PNFTs. I think it's a cool project still. I think that they're gonna do well. I think they're pretty serious. I think they have some good connections, some good partnerships. So definitely check them out. Tim, can you have a chat on price and share your screen maybe? I'm gonna go fill my glass again for the second part of the show.
Of course, but I need to make a timestamp first.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, while you're watching us do all these wonderful, beautiful things, like, subscribe, give us some love.
That's intense.
Do you have suggestions maybe for the show? That would be cool.
Wait, so you want me to?
Yeah,
okay.
just-
Yeah. We need to do a check on our portfolios. I'm really wondering how Willy is doing.
Yeah, pull it up, share it.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing that right now.
Good.
Really wondering how Willy is doing. There we go. Yeah, here we are. It's in euros. And oh yeah, it's giving me a lot of notifications. Apparently people are getting scammed on CoinGecko. Yeah, we're a bit down. I'm back at the 10K mark, roughly. My current portfolio is worth around 11K euro. I still made like a 700 euro profit. So it's kind of interestingly, I am back at the point where I started. Back in January. So yeah, when we look at my portfolio, we order it by profit. We see that, well, Uni has actually really done well for me, and that's completely based on my theory that, well, decentralized exchanges will do well in a bull market, and that actually turns out to be true.
Except for Orca.
Yeah, Orca died, I think. Yeah, he's really been caught up by Japanese whalers. But Bonk...
Too much plastic in the oceans.
Oh, yeah. Bonk has done amazingly well, just based on the fact that mall trading memes is always a good idea in this terrible market. So it's up 100%. BitTensor, still up 25% compared to, well, when we started doing this portfolio.
Is Tau
The
only
rest is
300?
negligible. Huh?
Tau only 300?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. And then Orca died. It's minus 70%. Vector Space minus 20%. Ordi Swap minus 40%. But the rest is up. So I'm kind of, well, yeah, turning break even. Really afraid of your portfolio. Let's see how we're doing.
Oh, I can feel the pain already.
Here we go. 4,613. Minus 5,600 euro. With a whopping minus 76% drop on Neon. And this coin was supposed to go to 10 euro, according to very credible sources, I know. Then
Yeah.
BitTensor is still up 25% compared to last January, and checked is minus 1/4 since January.
So
but checked is
is
kind of doing okay, right? It's been
sub
ranging
5
there
cents
for a
still,
while.
man. That's cheap.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but this Neon narrative is kind of terrible. And also one of your very risky play that you put there in January. I was already very skeptical of it, but it's trading euphoria, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we can look at our WouldaCouldaShoulda portfolio, and oh yeah, this is a warped perspective, obviously, because, well, we're up, but this is compared to like when we started doing this years ago.
Yeah, so the WouldaCouldaShoulda portfolio is a blast from the past. So what we did is we grabbed our quant bag that we assembled at a certain point in time, hypothetically. And at some point in time, we heard about BitTensor, right? We went back in our memories. When did we hear about that? And we sold Quant at that day for that price that Quant was worth. And we bought BitTensor for the price that it was then. And we did the same with YOYO, just to see how our decisions would have panned out. And what you can see right now is that today, on June 11th, Quant would have been up 22.5% overall, whilst BitTensor would have been up 653%, and YOYO would have been up 24%. And our recommendation was, do not trade this for real, but just give it one cycle, right? 4 years, fill this out, and whatever you think, oh, I want to get that. And then when you reach the point you absolutely want to get that, you just grab one of the other coins and you go to the plus on the right side of the screen. You make the transaction to sell for that value, and then you buy, right? So initially, you need to be honest and look back. When did you acquire your QNT? For how much? Then make everything up to date as honestly and truthfully as possible. And then you have an actual real-time woulda, coulda, shoulda. What would have been, what could have been, what should it have been portfolio. If I actually went through with my decisions. Sneeze.
Yep. Okay, and then yeah, when we look at Quant itself.
Oh, that was loud. So that's what that portfolio is about. Yeah. Now we're looking at QNT.
Yeah, it's this utter despair. But if you manage to actually find the gut, you might buy a quite historical bottom.
Yeah.
I do not necessarily have the funds right now, but
two weeks ago I called for the 80 that we needed to get to the 80, if you can remember. We hit that, right? A little bit longer back, 1 year.
No, we did for sure.
If you go a little bit further back, like 1 year or max, then you can see the go to 1 year.
Yeah, but
No, that works too. There you can see right in the middle of September 2023. No. September 2023. That's where we also hit the 80 mark. Bit to the right, bit to the right.
Nope. Here.
A little bit farther.
Yeah, it should just turn into 1 year. Oh.
Yeah, that was also when we reverted. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go up now. I think we tried already, but then Bitcoin took a shit again. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I really like this whiskey. It's really good. I also got the Hibiki Tim. Finally, I did it. I pulled the trigger. Yeah, it's a Japanese whiskey, highly renowned, and it should be really, really good. And it is, but it is not as good, in my opinion, as this one. And this one is a little bit cheaper. This one is in the Netherlands like 120 euros for a bottle, and Hibiki is like 140 something.
That's really
I like this better. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at whiskeys, it's not that expensive, but yeah, it's a lot of money. It's like 6 euros a drink.
Are we moving to the wrap up of the show, or is there anything more fundamental?
No. How long are we in?
We're in for 48 minutes.
Okay, because we also have.
Oh.
let me share my screen.
No, you were talking about whiskey, but then spare that Yeah, it doesn't really matter. We can talk about it right now, or
No, never mind.
it's okay.
No, it's not. Okay, so we're at Quant. This is not a whiskey drinking show. Not yet.
I mean, whiskey is also
Next
a
week,
form of investing.
cigars. What?
Whiskey is also a form of investing. So
Yeah, for sure.
Actually,
Yeah.
it was in the news some time ago that a couple of weeks ago that whiskey is actually well, it's cooling off in investment terms.
Yeah.
That it's actually being a bit more accessible now for regular buyers of whiskey because well the investment hype is well it's blown
It's
over.
dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a company, Dutch Whiskey Investments. You can actually buy parts of a bottle, or you can buy entire bottles that they have in their climatized room, and so on. There are plenty of whiskeys that cost well over 10,000 euros a bottle. You can actually get them from Galileo, which is like a Dutch retail liquor store. They have bottles of 5, 6, 7K just in their web shop, which is pretty interesting. Anyway, we are now on LinkedIn, and you can see Quant with 20,000 followers posted 5 hours ago. We know that many central banks are exploring the creation of digital currency, and it is vital that any CBDC can fully replicate the ability of physical money to work offline. But how can this be achieved? Our Chief Product Officer, Martin Hargreaves, spoke to Electronic Payments International to share why a robust design process, accessibility, and financial inclusion are key components in ensuring that CBDCs can fulfill their potential. So this is another example of when marketing, and it's there, right? If you look here on electronicpaymentsinternational.com, good luck typing that without any typos. It's really catchy. It reads, CBDCs must work offline if they are to be rolled out successfully. Jurisdictions around the world are researching how to launch a central bank digital currency, but they have major challenges to solve first, none more so than how to make CBDCs work offline, writes Martin Hargreaves. So this is a piece, I mean, you can read it yourself. Offline functionalities, CBDCs will play a fundamental role in fostering greater financial inclusion, particularly for people living in areas that lack the technical infrastructure needed to remain connected, or for a percentage of the populations who are unbanked, right? And this is, first comes to mind, LACchain, right? South America, leapfrogging, etc. 90% of people in high-income countries have easy internet access. It drops to 55% for lower middle-income countries. BIS citing offline use as the most crucial element for promoting financial access. And as you know, CBDC should become money, right? Because money is offline, and CBDCs should also be able to work offline. The problem with money, Tim, and I spoke about this, is that the monetary system as it works right now, in the eyes of laymen, for the common folk, CBDCs are not necessary because the current monetary system works. And Tim and I spoke, and we came to the analogy of maybe your home network, right, with cables. If you have an old house and you want to add something, right? You're not gonna, most people are not gonna break out the walls to put down an internet cable. So you just add the cable, and they add a nice little gutter where you can put the cable in, and so on. And within 10 years' time, it's just a big spaghetti mess. Tim gave the example of a bus. If you have a bus that is by now 70 years old, after 70 years, the bus can still be serviceable and it will still work, right? It uses more gas than its value, like every 2 days. And the current mechanics don't even know how to repair it anymore. Parts need to be scavenged, salvaged. I mean, it's serviceable, but it's not efficient and it's not very effective anymore. And that's the same with the monetary system. If you now want to send money from A to B, the numbers just change on both ends, but on the back end, everything still needs to happen, right? There's no money that went from me to Tim. Which makes it all very expensive, inefficient, and complex and fraud sensitive ordeal, and that just needs to get solved, right? And there's just a lot of optimizing to be done. And yeah, they're talking about communication networks being able to be obstructed. That's why offline is essential. What will that future payments landscape look like? Everybody's exploring CBDCs. Developments are encouraging. Offline capabilities are growing. Quant is already, we know that from Gilbert's own mouth, able to settle. I think they also proved that with Project Rosalind, that they can settle offline CBDCs. And if that is possible, then it can also be done with other forms of tokenized money, which is really, 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 really cool. And there are no other companies that do this. And thinking of that, the patents, so we'll get to patents in a second. Quant patented a way to order and filter blockchain transactions. The way they did that, I could not explain if my life depended on it, but they patented it and it works. And apparently that is the holy grail of Overledger. So to get another company to achieve settlement of offline CBDCs, if you do not have that patent or the rights to use that, how are you going to be able to settle something correctly via a universal timecode that is patented? And if settlement happens later, right? Because if you're going to be paying with your phone the transaction needs to be logged and uploaded to the network later, probably. Or if it's done by a card, because you can have like a certain amount of money that is not traceable, trackable, right? Just like cash, that has been discussed, like a prepaid kind of thing. So you take money of your bank account and then you put it on your phone on a separate part with which you can just pay each other, the prostitute, a dealer, or just your quote unquote maid. That will be a thing, and then the transaction has already been there. Initially, when you put the money on that secret, part. So there's tons of options, but we'll see. But eventually, there needs to be a transaction on chain to update the balance and so on. That will require time codes and shit. And I am curious, since Quant patented this, if there are other solutions and what they would look like and if they are viable. What are your thoughts, Tim?
If there are any other solutions in the general market.
Yeah, but also for establishing time, filtering, ordering, making sure that everything is synchronized.
Yeah, there's a reason they've patented this.
Yes.
And this patent has been long running. So
yeah,
I am really skeptical whether there are any other solutions. I think they've made a very smart move here, but we can never know for sure. Patenting is it's a really messy business. That's yeah. Oh yeah.
In the light of patents, we have here also on LinkedIn the Patent Lawyer magazine. Isn't a lawyer in English a barrister?
What?
Okay, a lawyer. I think it's a barrister in English. never mind. An interview with Helen Kemet, and like I said to Tim, I thought her name was Helen Kremet, which was super funny to me because there's this meme, Kermit and Elmo, where they've been smoking a bong, I believe, and then Elmo is calling Kermit Kremet, and he's like, "Did you just call me Kremet?" So whenever I see Helen Kemet, I need to think of Elmo and Kermit smoking a bong. Anyway, Helen Kemet, General Counsel at Quant. Helen sits down with a patent lawyer to discuss Quant's vision to make blockchain accessible to all. Her excitement around Quant's growing patent portfolio and her appreciation for dedicated outside counsel. Read the full article on page not 9, it is page 17 and 16. Well, there's a link in the description. But they're talking about how is Quant working to make distributed ledger technology simple, trusted, and future-proof? How is Quant disrupting the market compared to others in the blockchain finance space? What's Quant's main mission? And so on. Tim, is there one part that you definitely want us to dive into?
No.
Okay.
Nah, I think I cannot really read this, but that's me.
You can read it. Okay.
Yeah, but that's my.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I can read it, but like it's small. Oh yeah, now I'm zoomed in. Sorry, I have terrible eyes.
How is Quant disrupting the market compared to others in the blockchain finance space? We have different competitors depending on whether we're project-based or subscription-based. Our focus is much more on financial services and the regulated industries, likely because our founder and head of product were heavily involved in this space previously. We have a massive emphasis on standards and security. So I'd say that is what distinguishes us from others. We're very focused on making our products secure.
Yeah, I think security is key.
Security is what?
I think security is really central to what Quant is doing. Yeah, I'm just skimming through this.
In the meantime, do you believe developing a patent portfolio is crucial for success in the finance and technology sector? It is interesting because I can think of tech companies that have been very, very successful without a single patent. The first patent we were granted was a Japanese patent, and we've just been granted a US and a EU patent. I was really excited about it because I've worked for very established companies that haven't had patents for their tech. Receiving grant was significant recognition that what we are doing is innovative. But I don't think it's essential to success, as companies do succeed without patents, but it's fantastic for us. It's genuinely really exciting for us as a company in our position and for the engineers. It's a big achievement for them and deserved as they put in a lot of work. The process is costly. External advisors are expensive, but it's also a big cost internally. We are lucky that the head of R&D is really interested in IP protection and puts in a lot of time to translate the technical side to the external lawyers. Patenting is a big commitment. I can understand why some companies don't do it, but I'm glad to be at a company that does. Okay, that was, again, 2 paragraphs where she didn't fucking say anything.
No.
She just repeated the same thing 4 times, just in different wordings. So anyway, yeah, really fucking cool. Go check this out. Article is in the description. I think the Patent Lawyer magazine isn't really our niche. Anyway, I think we can call this a show.
I think so.
I think we went into the weeds deep enough. We started off a little bit more lighthearted with Greg bashing the fucking Linkies once again, which is always nice. Then we ramped it up a bit, and eventually ended up into the fucking trenches of patent law.
Yeah.
We are sorry, but yeah, if you stick to the end, we know you can take it. Comrades. So give us a like, give us a share, give us some love, share with your friends, use our link on BYBIT. We get some kickback too. Please help us enjoy the show, to maintain the show. Signing up to BYBIT does that. You can also use the Ethereum wallet. If you think, Quant's only 77 euros, might as well give one to the Quamfy show. Bull market is in force, will be in force for the next year, maybe year and a half. Don't fuck this up. Check your ego. Check your priorities. Don't do anything rash. Use the WouldaCouldaShoulda portfolio. And this was all not financial advice. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and so on. Next week, in 2 weeks for you, we will review our predictions that we made in January. And if we find the time, we will make new ones. But I think we need to think really long and hard and well what our decisions will be. But in 2 weeks, you'll get an update. And we will share what's going to happen during summer. For now, don't fuck this up and stay Quamfy.
Stay Quamfy.